Hey everybody, Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we're talking with Mr. Tony Stevens. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Tom. How are you?
Pretty good. It's a nice enough day outside, I think. I don't have windows in my office, so it's hard to tell, but
Yeah, it is nice. You got the sun coming through the shades right here, so
hmm I mean, I'm out at a music festival tonight, so I'm sure I'll get some sun at some point.
make sure you wear the sunscreen.
Oh yeah, I'm a pale redheaded kid. The sunscreen is like I should have stock in that stuff at this point.
Yeah, I definitely burn first myself too, so
My
takes a
problem is
while.
is I don't tan though. Like I go straight from white to red and then back to white.
Yeah.
But
That's all right.
So we're here today to talk about you, about your music, and about what you do in the world. But for those who are new, can you give a little kind of intro about yourself?
Well, my name is Tony Stevens, and I'm a singer-songwriter, country music artist, and I've been I like to do, the standard things, hunt, fish. I got family. I love spending time with my family. And I love writing music and making music and getting up on stage and playing it for people. So
Mm.
that's the little roundabout snapshot.
Hey, I mean it sounds like a pretty good snapshot to me. So I guess my first question is, what sparked the interest in music, and how'd you get into this career?
The career side of it is a little bit more di interesting, but I mean, I grew up. My grandma was in the church choir, so I was exposed to kind of like that live choir music at a young age, and watching her get up there, she had this like super unique voice that was kind of like operatic,
Okay.
and so you could like pinpoint her voice out of the choir, and I always just thought she had a lot of guts to get up there and sing in front of a whole bunch of people. So that was kind of my first exposure to live music. And then, yeah, just around the house, I have two older sisters, so they listen to all sorts of different music. And my dad would listen to Alan Jackson, Dwight Yoakam, and so I had like a whole bunch of different genre influences.
Mhm.
Um, then, as far as the career goes, I was in a band out of high school for a while and decided to hit the family route, hit the fork in the road, took the family route, and got married, had some kids, and renovated a house. And during that process, I actually had a pretty bad uh, head injury where I crashed during like a wakeboarding accident and wound up being hospitalized for a week.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I thought it was kind of over at that point when I was lying in the hospital and couldn't see straight, couldn't walk. I had what was called a subdermal hematoma, and basically there was just a bunch of blood in
Hmm.
between my brain and my skull that was pooling up and causing nothing but issues. Um, but luckily, I got through that. But I was put on bed rest for quite a while after that. So I was sitting there thinking about, you know, what I'm passionate about in life and what I want to do, because I kind of had a very real realization that you never know when your time is going to come,
Hmm.
and it might be tomorrow, might be 30 years from now, maybe 50 years from now, right? But I just realized at that point I really wanted to pursue what was in my heart, which has always been in music. I've always written and played music and written songs, and I chatted with my wife about it, and we both just agreed to say, like, hey, if we're gonna do this, we'll just see where it goes, put one foot in front of the other. And I started doing weddings, started doing pubs, breweries, and then playing my own music while I was there. And it's kind of progressed to the point right now where I'm chatting with Hidden Beats and getting the CCMA nomination for Songwriter of the Year. It's actually crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's
So
a pretty interesting story leading up to just getting into music, really.
yeah, I mean, it's for me, music has always been one of those things where it's like a timestamp, where like whether you're going through, hard times, there's always those songs, there's always those artists that, you turn the music on, right? Whether
Hmm.
you're happy, you turn the music on. If you're down, I would turn the music on. And it's just, I wanted to be creative with what I have inside, and maybe hopefully one day have my music be that for somebody else, right? So
Yeah, I think that seems to be a really kind of driving force for a lot of musicians that I've seen is
Yeah.
you had emotions listening to songs and now you're hoping you can deliver that to someone else.
Yeah, and it just for me it also is a way like some of the songs I write might not see the light of day, but they're honestly like they're a way for me to process what's gone on in my life as well. So even just it just helps me personally to write music and songs. So
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So
yeah.
who would you say, I mean, you have a lot of musical kind of influences, like you said, but who would you say is the one, or maybe two that have inspired your sound the most?
My sound, I'd say
Just
my
you
sound
as an
is pretty,
artist.
yeah. I'd say my sound is probably inspired the most by, some of my 90s kind of rock grunge listening. Like you got like Soundgarden and Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins and all that kind of stuff. I listened to a lot of that during that era, as well as like the Alan Jacksons, the Dwight Yoakams. Um, but I went to a concert and it was a Dierks Bentley concert, and this guy was opening up for him. He wasn't even on the ticket. I wound up being able to get backstage and meet Dirks. This is years and years ago, at a meet and greet, right? Shook his hand, took a picture, and I
Hmm.
met the opener, and the guy's name was Eric Church.
Oh, okay.
And his name wasn't even on the ticket at that point. And I think he had just released Sinners Like Me, and that album was one of those things where I felt like he was writing out my life and singing portions of my life directly to me. So
Mhm.
he's probably one of the major influences as far as like um, how and why I write. So.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy where you can find that one kind of project or something that just speaks so deeply to
Oh
you?
my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, those are always I have a few that like there's a couple songs where it's like, man, this is exactly I know this. This is me. This is it.
This is where I'm at.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that that even happens these days.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for like guys like me and sinners like me, those were just like, hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, and moving forward, I mean, these guys, you got some influences, and now you got a
Yeah.
CCMA nomination. Like, how
Yes, sir.
how was that news when you first got it?
I didn't really even know what was happening. I got the news and I'm just like, holy smokes, like, is this for real?
Yeah.
You watch the CCMAs and the award shows over the years, and I've been at them for the last few years as well. And just to be nominated alone to me is like a massive win because it's like almost like a validation or hey, you're doing the right thing, you're going in the right direction at least,
Hmm.
right? And some people are connecting with it, and that to me is the biggest reward for a songwriter is the fact that people are connecting to your songs and that your peers are kind of recognizing it, right? So it's awesome to be up there mentioned with some of those incredible songwriters across the country, and it was it was surreal. It was kind of like pinch me moment, for lack of a better way to say it, or slap me moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So
It's like, no, this can't be for me almost.
is this me? Like, I'm up on that list, like on that
Hmm.
poster there. Like, that's my name. Like, it's crazy. And
And then you get to go shake hands with some of these guys later.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So
No, that's awesome. And like it's the songwriters for Whiskey in Colorado, which is
yeah,
your biggest streamed one right now on Spotify, it looks like. So
yeah,
it's doing well.
I think we're at over 2.5 million streams overall now,
Hmm.
platforms, which is another crazy thing to me to think about. But yeah.
So what was your process like putting this track together?
So I wrote this one with the producer, actually Dan Swinimer is one of the writers on this song as well, and our buddies Wes Mack and Dave Boris. We all came into this right, and we all have this sentiment of being on the road as we've all been artists and musicians. Dan was in a band that was signed to a major American label, so we all have this experience of being on the road away from family and loved ones, but the intense like pull and drive that the passion for the music and following this wild dream, this crazy dream has on us. So it's just like that tension between everything you pour into as far as trying to create a music career, trying to balance that family life at home. But then when you're gone and you're on the road and the show is over, you're done shaking hands and having fun and meeting people, and you're alone in your hotel, and you say goodnight to your wife or your girlfriend or whoever it is, and then you're alone with your thoughts. It's kind of really honing in on
Hmm.
that one particular moment when you're like, geez, I wish I was home right now. But then the lyric goes, but there's another small stage in another small town,
Yeah.
right? It's like, but I gotta keep going. And then he says, I'm singing songs about you without you around. So it really hammers that point home that to chase this, you do have a little bit of a sacrifice that's there. And
Hmm.
luckily for me, my family is 100% behind me on this. And without that support, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at this point. So
For sure. And then when I was listening to the song, so one of my main things is I'm actually a photographer first, so I get out and go cover live shows. And
awesome.
festival season's obviously pretty crazy. So I was
Mhm.
listening to that song and literally thinking about I was at Boots and Hearts a few weeks ago and
Yeah.
spending that 4 days without my wife, and she's sending me pictures of our daughter, and it's like, man, I could feel exactly the
Yeah.
lyrics like you were just saying. It's like I have to keep pushing this, but man, it'd be fun to be playing with my kid right now.
Yeah, it's literally though that little moment when you're in that thought process. That's what the
Mm.
song is all about.
Yeah, so
So
I definitely felt it for sure.
right on. Well, I'm glad you connected with it because that means a lot.
So how do you think your music has evolved? I mean, if we go back to like 2021's Moonlighting compared to coming into now, how do you think your progression has been?
Well, I mean, the progression has been kind of natural. We kind of just been following where the songs take the sound. Um, I feel like my voice is getting a little more, I'm getting a little more strength in how I'm delivering as far as a performance in the studio goes. But if you look at all of my releases to date, they're all kind of slightly different, right? So I'm kind of like we've shot a wide target, and now it's kind of coming if more in focus, if you'd say, to like that rock, a little bit more of a rock underpinning.
Yeah, you're honing
Yeah.
your style, I guess, at this
Yeah.
point.
With a lot of melodic, like to me, like, growing up listening to some of the country artists, like even like Rascal Flatts, the melodies in all those songs are just so incredible and so infectious.
Hmm.
So melodies for me are a big part of what I want my sound to be. Like just little licks, little things that make it a little bit more unique,
Hmm.
or make you remember a line rather than just a straight melody.
Yeah. One of my things I liked about your music is that you can see, like you said, where you're honing your sound, but your lyrics and everything, your story in your song
Mm.
is there. It's on point like every time. Just listening to Moonlightings is I right away I was like, okay, I know where this is going, and I could feel
Yeah,
the lyrics and have fun with that. And I like that you have that kind of solid base that you're working off of, and then making sure you can deliver what you feel is best for you.
yeah, thanks, man. I mean, the storytelling part of it is why I'm so in love with country music.
Hmm.
I was in a rock band for a little while, and there's not really any sometimes there can be no direction with the lyrics. It's like, oh, we have this lyric and whatever sounds cool, let's put it there. And that's great.
Hmm.
I feel like some of the really good songs, even the rock songs that I like, still do have that story, right? So
Yeah.
that line where it makes sense. If you read it just on paper, it makes sense.
Hmm. My
Um,
favorite songs is a Linkin Park song that has a
yeah,
story behind it, and it's like that you can read it on paper, and the whole thing is just a story that makes perfect sense.
yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that way of writing. So it's definitely how I write. So
Well, it's coming through. I mean, I can definitely appreciate it for sure.
awesome. Thank you.
So this is an interesting question because you're still getting your feet in some of the spots in the industry. What's the
Yeah.
most interesting thing you've learned about yourself so far?
The most interesting thing I've learned about myself. Oh, brother, man, that's a really good question.
I have a
Um,
few more good ones too. Just wait.
yeah. Well, specifically, like, like what I learned about myself as far as like mentally or
Really,
musically?
whatever you think is the most in like something that you didn't think you could accomplish, maybe
Right.
something, anything that really kind of sticks out for you.
Yeah, I think when I've been getting into rooms and writing with the people that I've been able to write with, learning that the songwriting side of this community is such an amazing group of people and so welcoming and I think it's just I've learned to not hold back,
Hmm.
like especially in a songwriter or anywhere, like even just chatting with you here, like don't try and pretend, you know what I mean? Like don't try and put anything on, like just be yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and that's generally when people are going to connect is when you're real, right? So not that I've tried to put anything on before, but I found that in those instances, that's when the real connections do happen.
Hmm.
That's what I've definitely picked up on as far as dipping into the industry.
Yeah. Well, and talking with you right now, I get the sense of already who you are as a person. You don't seem like someone who's trying to be fake. You're thoughtful with your answers. You're just a salt of the earth type of guy who walks
Uh,
work, does what he's doing, and has a good time doing it.
yeah, I signed with Bobby Wills on Willing Records a couple years ago, and one of the really cool things about the whole situation, the partnership that we have, is we literally had a handshake deal
Hmm.
for almost over a year before there was actually pen to paper. And I don't know, that's just kind of the way I've always worked, and it's nice to know that there's people out there in an industry like the music industry that still, stand on their word and do what
Yeah.
they say. And it's really cool.
Yeah. We just dropped an interview with Bobby like yesterday.
Oh, right on.
So
Awesome.
got a chance to talk with him a bit. And yeah, he's definitely one of those guys that's just
Yeah.
a good dude.
Yeah. Such a great guy.
Hmm.
So happy to be working with him for sure.
Yeah. So this is an interesting one I like to ask in all my interviews, especially for like the first time I've talking to someone.
Hmm.
What's one thing you think should be asked more in an interview that's not asked enough?
Um, Maybe like what's your favorite kind of pizza?
Okay.
Or what's the best? What's the? Here's another good one. What lure were you using the last time you caught a fish? Maybe that's a good one too.
It's
Or what's your favorite place to go hunting? I don't know. This is where my mind goes, but
it's been so long since I've gone fishing, which is so sad because it used to be something I'd love to do. But like I
yeah,
live right in Ottawa, there's not really any great fishing spots.
yeah.
Life takes a toll and
Yeah, it gets busy, right? Things the calendar fills up, everything. Yeah, it's definitely you got to be a lot more intentional. The
Mhm.
older the more responsibilities we get, the more intentional you got to be about having fun, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, but I think for me at this point now was I'll be able to be intentional in doing stuff like that with my kids. That's
Yes.
I can focus on that and actually I can teach you guys this because I used to do it.
Oh, and that's the best, like reliving those firsts through them, like and being
Mhm.
able to guide them through it. Man, I remember my son and my daughter's first fish they caught. Like it's just it reinvigorates fishing again
Mhm.
or whatever you're doing, So yeah,
Yeah, so
I can definitely relate to that.
yeah, that's gonna be fun. And I have a son on the way. He's like we're 8 months
Congrats.
pregnant now, so it's gonna be so fun doing all those boy things and just being able
Yeah,
to
you
have
got
that
it.
camaraderie.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. So is there any local ponds by you that you can go fish?
Oh,
Do they stock any of them?
no, nothing really. But if anything, I'll take a trip up to like my grandparents. They live kind of in the middle of nowhere where there's a few nice ponds to go fishing.
Beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
I've already got that.
encourage that.
Yeah, I've already got that part planned out and thinking about just all the extra things I get to do at that point.
Right on, man.
Mhm.
Love it.
So a fun question for you now then is who
Yeah.
plays you in the movie of your life?
Oh my gosh. Somebody said the other day that Paul Rudd would possibly play me. I guess like, they think I'm funny. I don't know.
I could see maybe a slight like a Paul Rudd look about you, I
A
suppose.
resemblance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I can see that being a thing, and he can be serious too, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's what I've been told. So
Hmm.
I've never really thought about it in that way. Maybe I'll have to think about it for
Yeah, it's one of those ones that's gonna go, well, if this is my movie, I get to pick this person.
play me.
Hmm.
Hmm. That's an interesting question. I mean, one of my favorite actors over the years has been Anthony Hopkins, but I don't think he bears any resemblance to me.
I mean, you could do later in life, maybe.
Ah, yes. Yes, he could be the wiser version of me, and then
Yeah,
Paul
like the
Rudd.
generational things there. That could work. It could be fun.
Yeah, you never know.
Hmm. So, who's on your go-to playlist right now that you're listening to that you think more people should be listening to?
Well, I know a lot of people listen to him, but my one of my favorite artists over the last probably 5 years or 6 years has been Hardy. I
Okay.
love his writing. I love his uh, what he's doing with things, kind of venturing off, not
Yeah, just
necessarily
all over the
straight
place.
country music, and which is great. One of my favorite songs of his is "A Rock" off of his first album, and again, like the storytelling, the way it all connects with the hook line, like it's just I love that.
His
Um,
live show is crazy too.
yeah, anything where there's pyro, I'm into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Explodes. Yeah, I like I actually like a few Red Farron songs.
I actually just saw him this year at Boots and Hearts and went, holy
Oh, is it?
crap. Yeah, that like I was like, damn, okay, that's a fun. It was just good music. And I sat there and went, holy crap, this is awesome.
Yeah, like I think it was Jack and Diet Coke was his first like or the first one I heard, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, all right, but then it's like the melody was just so cool. Again, that's
Mhm.
the kind of things that hook me in is the melodies and the way they land the hook. So it's I've liked some of his stuff. Um Wyatt McCubbin,
Okay.
he's a guy from down south. He's an incredible songwriter as well. He's got some really great stuff. He's actually got a whole ton of cuts on like Lainey Wilson's new album and
Mhm.
Riley Green's album, and like the guy's a beast. So I enjoy listening to his music too.
Yeah, those are some good names. Like Red
Yeah,
Farron's a good find this year for me. And I went, like I said, wow, okay.
yeah, that's
Actually, I
cool.
have to send him some pictures from Boots. I kind of forgot about that.
Well, there you go. Nice
Yeah.
friendly.
Mhm. Yeah, I met him when he got off stage. I went over, shook his hand, and said like, "Wow, like good for you. That was awesome." And he had the whole crowd just right
Wow.
in eating out of the palm of his hand.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. That'd be goals for me for sure to get into a position like that where I can interact with the crowds and get them amped up. You know what I mean? Having
But
fun.
we just need to get you on the Boots and Hearts stage. You'll have fun there.
Yeah, you bet.
Hmm.
I'm down. So whatever it takes.
Well, I'll forward this interview over to one of the media teams over there and see
Yeah, put in a
see how
good
that.
word for me.
Yeah.
Right on, man.
So, if you were to introduce your music to a new fan for the very first time, what's the first song they need to listen to?
Oh my gosh. Um, I mean, my favorite song right now is probably Whiskey in Colorado as far as what's out there. But if they wanted to like know a deep dive into like who I am as an artist, I mean, Cochrane Avenue is definitely one of my more open, like kind of storytelling songs about what I've gone through in my life.
Hmm.
Cochrane Avenue, Whiskey in Colorado, and a whole bunch of ones that haven't been released yet.
Oh, there we go. That's a hard
Super
question
excited.
because there's so many new
Yeah,
songs that come out, and it's like picking your favorite child. Like,
yeah,
what's up next?
yeah. We got a lot. We got some stuff coming down the pipe that I'm super stoked about. Cannot
Oh,
wait to release it.
I'm
So
I'm excited to hear some, that's for sure. Now, important question: what do you hope fans take away from your music as a whole?
I hope my fans take away from my music, or when they listen to my music, that it becomes like a little timestamp in their life. You know what I mean? Like if they can relate to the lyrics, if 10 years down the road, when if they hear the song again, it brings them back to the moment that they heard it, or the summer that they had it on repeat, with good memories, or maybe, if it helps them through a hard time, or some loss, right? Like that's what I hope my listeners or my fans take from my music, that they connect to it, and
Hmm.
that it becomes, and that it's something that they can bring into their lives, and have a part of their soundtrack, so to speak.
Gives them a moment that they can remember.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Now, what motivates you to keep walking down this musical road? You're getting your feet in there now and getting all fun, but what's the pushing force for you?
Um, I've ha I don't know that I could really pinpoint it. It's just something that I feel like I have to do.
Okay.
Like if I'm not doing it, I feel like I said, I took a bit of a break from music, as far as like pursuing it.
Hmm.
And when I'm not doing it, it it's still always there. It's not like it ever goes away. Like I always want to write music. I always look at my guitar. I always want to pick it up and play it. Um, it's just something that's inside me, I think.
Hmm.
I don't know that there's a better way to describe it than that, because there's a lot of times where if I didn't have that, I probably would have given up like 10 times by now.
Hmm. I mean, it makes sense if it's that driving force for you just on its own.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it's the I get like a satisfaction in songwriting and creating, and so it's just something that's inside me.
No, that makes sense. I get that.
I'm gonna try.
Everyone has something that is
Yeah,
that direction they need to go.
yeah. And my now that I have kids, I want to show them, I want to have them have an example for them to, follow what they're passionate about.
Hmm.
I want to be able to show them what it's like to put in time and effort into something you're truly passionate about, because I want them to do that with their lives, whatever it is.
Yeah. No, I can
So,
feel that for sure. All right, last question, most important question of all is, are you
right.
happy?
Am I happy?
Yeah.
I'm happy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's the question
Right
is,
right now, yeah, no, I'm happy. I mean, obviously there's ups and downs in life, but the other thing that I took away from the whole head injury, almost dying thing, is you got to appreciate every little thing.
mhm,
And I find that when I look through a lens of appreciating what I've got, and not looking at what I don't have or what I haven't accomplished. I mean, obviously you got to stay motivated, and look forward and continue to, try and improve. And but there's something to be said for that contentment in what you have, and enjoying what you have in the moments. And when I do that, I'm a lot happier.
mhm.
So, especially, and if you do that intentionally, it starts to become habit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Happiness is all about intentionally looking at the good things, really.
Yeah, exactly. And that can be hard at times, for sure. No doubt. Definitely been through the ringer a few times over the years, but I feel like if you can, even in those moments, just look at one single item that might be going well,
Yeah.
and just be thankful for that and grateful for it. And that's gonna that's what's helped me anyways.
No, I get that. That makes sense. Well,
So
my friend, that's all the questions I have. What's next for you? You're going to be out there winning a Songwriter of the Year award in a week.
I'll take
Then
Yeah, hey, you said it, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna let that simmer out there, and
Yeah, we're
hopefully,
gonna put it out into the world here. This
yeah,
is it. You've won. We're done.
yeah, yeah. Well, I have one, honestly. I mean, just I have one already. You know what I mean? And super appreciative and grateful to be a nominee. Um, I'm excited for what's coming up. And I can't wait to see what the future holds. And I
Yeah, I'm gonna be paying attention and making sure I can check out
thank
the
you.
new releases and seeing where it's going.
Thanks, Tom.
Hmm. Well, yeah. Is there any final words of wisdom you'd like to leave to people?
Words of wisdom. Goodness gracious.
Everyone has some sort of wisdom.
Always bring more than one capo to a show.
Yeah. See that right there? Somebody might actually be like, "Oh, wait, I need to actually do that."
I don't know. I would just say follow your dreams, man. Follow your passions. Follow whatever that thing that's inside you that makes you want to move towards it.
Yeah.
Follow it.
Yeah, that's it. I like that. Well, it was great to get to know you and pick your brain and see what makes you tick. It's fun putting information behind the songs now and seeing who
Right.
makes them and more detail into them.
No, I appreciate you, man.
Hmm.
Thanks for taking the time. And yeah,
Yeah,
I've,
we'll definitely do this again because it's always good to catch up with old friends.
yeah, you let me know.
I'm always around.
Sounds good, man.
All right, you enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too, buddy.
All right, bye now.
Thanks.